Marketing Director Kathy Ewing is suing her ex-husband, student John Arbaugh, for the cost of their son's karate lessons. John says the lessons were Kathy's idea.
Miss Ewing, the defendant is your former husband. You have a child together, and according to your complaint, you and your former husband had agreed that your son would take karate lessons. You signed the contract. He agreed to pay for half the lessons. So far, is that correct, sir?
It is.
And it is your claim that after paying for approximately 10 months, he stopped paying, and you want him to fulfill his obligation under the contract?
Correct.
And you decided after 10 months you didn't want him to attend this program anymore, is that right?
Well, things changed dramatically after 10 months. I had some life-altering surgery, and in consideration of that, I'm doing a lot of things, and one was redirecting my focus and my resources to doing things that will help me out in changing my life.
Okay. So you told her that you weren't paying anymore?
No, there's another circumstance in that I'd taken my son to the school, and the sensei there was having a summer camp, and there's a dozen kids running around.
The what?
The salon owner or the instructor.
Well, you said something else.
Sensei.
Sensei. That's what they call the instructor?
Yes, I do.
Sorry, I don't know the vernacular.
That's fine. So anyway, it was a situation where he had all these people running around and no adult help, and I offered to help him. And so I stayed and helped, and Kathy heard about that and called a mediator, complaining that she was going to call the sheriff if I went back again. At that point, I wrote a letter stating that, due to those circumstances, I couldn't support, going anymore because I was obviously not welcome. So if I'm not welcome, my money support and everything else is not welcome. And he had a copy of it. Our mediator had a copy of it. A copy went to Kathy as well.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions for you, Miss Ewing. This may be easy and it may be difficult. When did your son start the karate?
He started in March of 2000. John and I sat down and...
Shh. Just answer my questions.
Okay.
How old was he at the time?
He would have been 10, between 9 and 10.
And is there a contract that you signed?
Yes.
May I see the contract, please? Okay. So this was 24 monthly payments, is that correct?
Yes.
So the program was for 2 years.
Correct.
And the total payments were $3,084, is that correct?
Correct.
How much did your former husband pay in the 10 months that he made payments?
He paid approximately $58 a month. In October of that year, my son had been excelling in the program, and we sat down and discussed his moving into an advanced black belt program. At that time, we agreed to move him into a new program, so this program stayed in place, plus I signed a contract for an additional 24 months for the charges for the extra program.
This was in October of 2000?
Correct.
And the whole business was 1980.
Right.
And how much did he pay on this contract?
He paid one payment.
Of $41.25. Is that right, sir?
I really don't remember the details.
But do you remember, sir, you had the discussion about moving him into the adult program?
I did.
And you agreed at that time to participate?
With many, many reservations.
I don't care whether you had reservations or not.
Right.
Okay. Your defense to this, Mr. Arbaugh, is that for whatever reason you became disenchanted. You told her that you were opting out of these two programs.
Yes.
You can't do that. You can't do that because in reliance on your statement that you would pay half of these two contracts, she contracted with them and she was obligated under the contract to pay the money. You can't in midstream say, I changed my mind. Do you understand that?
I understand what you're saying.
It's unreasonable. She is bound by the terms of this contract based in part upon your statement that you would pay half. And you followed through with that until you got to be in your bonnet about something that I don't really care about. And you had certain financial reversals. And you wanted to, according to you, place your financial resources in other directions. That's what you said.
Right.
You cannot do that to her detriment. You contracted to take care of this bill for your child, half of it. Do it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,910.75. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I tried for over 8 months to work it out.
For twice this length of time that he's been in karate, I've been paying for all of his.
22-year-old nanny, Ivory Slade, is suing her former employer, 24-year-old bartender Crystal Ellis for firing her without warning and keeping her belongings. Crystal is countersuing for damage to her home.
Miss Slade, you were hired as a nanny for Miss Ellis, according to what I've read in your complaint. You worked for her for a short time. She let you go. And it is your claim that she kept some of your personal property. When did you move into Mrs. Ellis's home?
March 26th, which was a Wednesday.
And tell me about your employment arrangement with her.
The arrangement was that I would move in. I'd work Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 6 to 2:30 in the morning. She wouldn't pay me. The arrangement was I'd get room and board for free in exchange for taking care of her kids from 6 till 2:30.
Okay. So you started working on March 26th, and how long did it last?
A week.
So it didn't work out. You were not satisfied, I assume.
That's right.
Okay. And she's certainly entitled to do that.
Right.
Now, what items do you say that she kept?
Well, the things that were missing was my Sony camcorder. It was a regular Kodak 35mm camera. They took my bath towel is missing. The change out of my piggy bank is missing. My wallet
You
is
think
missing.
she took that?
And my CDs.
You think she took all that?
I'm not sure. From what
Give me
she's
a break.
telling me, somebody moved
Miss Slade.
it. Yeah.
Miss Ellis, who do you live in your home with?
I live there right now with my 2 children, and I have another nanny that stays in the room that she did stay in.
Okay.
And
why do you have a nanny?
Because I work nights, and
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a bartender.
Okay. What kind of house is this?
It's about 5 years old. It's a very nice house.
Whose house is it?
My grandmother, she bought it for me.
You drive a car?
Yes.
What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a 2000 Pontiac Grand Am.
Do you have any savings?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Ever been arrested?
No.
Ever stolen property?
No.
Miss Slade, she doesn't look like the kind of person who would steal your property, madam. Miss Slade, according to your answer that you filed, madam, you say that the only thing that was missing were your CDs.
Okay, can I just say one thing?
Absolutely.
When I got there, I have 85 CDs. They're in a case like this. It's a cylinder case. Of course, I noticed that was missing because when I brought it over there, it was in the box with the pillows and the sheets so that they would be protected. I noticed it was missing because it wasn't in that box. And I'm thinking, how did they package these? They probably scratched up, broken, whatever. So that's the first thing I noticed. I'm telling you now, I don't think she took it. When she told me was that she didn't tell me she moved and another lady moved. She said the people who moving into the room moved my things. I called her numerous times, and she never answered her phone. She has call ID.
I don't believe that your camcorder was missing.
Well, okay, I'm
Do
sorry.
you understand that?
Yes, I understand
Good.
that. But it
Very good. Is this your mother?
This is my mother who
Good.
bought
And
the
just a
camcorder.
second, and I want you to notice your mother's face going like this. She probably didn't realize it, that it was going like this. I don't believe, so let's get over the camcorder.
Okay.
Good.
Good. Okay. We're over the camcorder. My CDs, the camcorder is only $200. It wasn't a big thing. My CDs.
I don't care what it was.
Okay.
I want you to understand that, Miss Slade.
Okay.
When I think that you're pulling the wool over my eyes or giving me a baloney story about one thing, I tend to doubt the other things that you're talking about. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's your problem.
All right.
So, I say you didn't have a camcorder that was missing. And unfortunately, your mother can't keep a straight face because while that was happening, she was shaking her head up and down like this.
Okay.
We understand each other?
Yes.
Good.
Okay. So when I spoke to her, she told me other people moved my things. When I spoke to her, I said my things are missing. I'm telling her thinking she's going to say, well, I'll speak to her, I'll see what happened or whatever. She didn't do any of that. She just started getting offended and cursing me out, saying, I didn't do, I said, I'm not, if you're telling me someone else moved my things, then I'm telling you they took my things. She keeps talking about her.
Things. When you're talking about things, what things did you tell her were missing?
Well, I told her that my CDs were missing.
Right. CDs.
Right.
And what else did you tell her was missing?
I told her, well, I don't know if you want me to say this, but I told her the camcorder was missing.
When did you tell her that the camcorder was missing?
I told her over the phone.
Did she ever tell you the camcorder was missing?
No, she never told me about a camcorder.
What did she tell you about?
First it was the CDs, then she told me some towels and a piggy bank with $10 of change in it.
Is the bank you're talking about with $10 and change the bank that you're talking about that was full of money?
It wasn't full. It's a pretty big piggy bank. It's a piggy bank about this long, this high, and it had $10 worth of change in there.
How do you know?
Because I counted it.
When?
Before I left. I know it sounds weird, but I counted it.
It sounds very weird to take time from your very busy job, taking care of your child, and how many you have?
I have 2.
2, 3 children, to unscrew the piggy bank bottom and sit there and count out $10 worth of change.
Okay.
Do you
this was my
understand that?
day off. When I left, it was my day off. I was going to take it with me to get it changed into dollars.
So why didn't you?
Because when I was running late already, I knew when my appointment, I had things to do that day. That's why I was leaving. And I know by the time I finished everything I was going to do, it wasn't going to be enough time. Then what I was initially going to do.
So you put all the change back into the piggy bank?
Right.
Once you take it out and count it, that means you put it in piles, right?
Yes.
And if you take it out and take the trouble to take the money out and put it in piles, you keep it separate. You don't throw it all back together, because that would be stupid, because that's a big waste of time. So if you take it out, you put the quarters in one place, and then you say, even if I'm not going to take it today, I'll wrap this up, and this is $6 in quarters, this is $4 in nickels, wrap it up in something, in a sock, in a handkerchief, in a paper towel, and put it away. But now you tell me that you counted out $10. First you told me money. Now it turns out that it's $10. Ask you, how do you know it's $10? Because I counted it. When did you count it? I counted it before I was leaving on my... I mean, do you understand what I'm saying to you,
Yes,
Ms. Slade?
I understand what you're saying.
What I'm saying to you is, you didn't pay attention to what I said 5 minutes ago, which is, if you lie to me once, I don't believe the rest of what you tell me.
What I'm trying to tell you is I'm not lying to you.
Miss Ellis, this is what I want you to do, madam. The same people live with you now that were living with you before?
Yes. One lady.
One lady?
Yes.
This is what I want you to do. Does that lady have anything that plays CDs?
No. She owns nothing but clothes. I had to furnish her room for her.
When she came to you, she had nothing but clothes?
Nothing but clothes. Not even a car. I transported her where she needed to go.
And do you have access to her room?
Yes, I do.
Did anybody else come back within the next few days to visit with her?
No, I don't allow anybody in my home.
Okay. Did you see, then, the next few days, a case of CDs?
No. I've never seen her CDs.
Miss Slade, I don't know where your CDs are. Can't help you. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think she was just angry that I let her go
When I spoke to her, I was fine. I said, okay, I understand.
within such a short notice and time.
It's her house. You don't want me there, then I won't be there. That's fine with me.
I don't need any of her things that she has,
I didn't accuse her of stealing my stuff.
especially $10 in quarters.
She started cussing me out, and I didn't blame you for anything.
Basically, don't trust anybody.
I wasn't mad. I'm still not mad. I just want my stuff back.
And Chris Chenier is suing his ex-girlfriend, 21-year-old student Jessica Irby, for the cost of 2 rings he bought for her. Chris says Jessica's a cheater.
Don't get comfortable, Bird. This is not going to take long.
I'm never comfortable.
Good. How old are you?
I'm 21.
How old are you?
21?
You want money back from her for a couple of rings that you bought her, and you
Yeah.
say she promised to give you the money back.
Yep.
Yep. Try yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
What do you do for a living?
I work at Walmart.
And what do you do?
I don't have a job right now.
Do you live home?
Yes.
Do you go to school?
Yes, Your Honor.
What kind of school?
HCC, college.
Okay. Let me tell the story, because that way Bird won't get bored. Try to pay attention, Bird.
Yes.
When you were dating, you went with her to the mall.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. Quick learner. And according to you, she saw a ring that she liked.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because I read your papers very carefully. And she said, I really like that ring.
Yes.
And would you buy it for me?
Yes.
And you said, I'll only buy it for you if you really love me.
Yes.
That's what you said.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in what month was that, sir?
April.
And she said, I really love you.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you bought the ring.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then in June, she broke up with you.
Well, July.
Or July. Now, putting it all together, it is your claim that because she told you she loved you in April and broke up with you in July, she really lied.
Yes.
And therefore, she's not entitled to the ring.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Chenier, if she really loved you in April,
Yes.
she'd be entitled to the ring. It was a gift then. Is that correct?
Well, it was more of a promissory ring.
No. You just said that you said to her, I'll buy you the ring if you really love me.
Yes.
And she said, I really love you. And at the moment she did. Did you ever hear of Elizabeth Taylor?
No.
You never heard of Elizabeth Taylor?
No, I haven't.
How about Eminem? Did you ever hear of Eminem?
Yes.
Did you ever hear of Costa Rica?
I hear there are a lot of Americans in Costa Rica.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 21-year-old stockperson Chris Chenier is suing his ex-girlfriend, 21-year-old student Jessica Irby, for the cost of 2 rings he bought for her.
Mr. Chenier, you have to get over it, sir. She loved you in April. She didn't love you in July. You bought her the rings. She doesn't love you anymore. Put a period. Get over it. Goodbye. Have a happy life.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Now I know never to trust Jessica anymore.
I said I loved him, but I never once said I'd pay him for the ring back.
She cheated on me before I bought her the ring and after I bought her the ring.
I never cheated on him like he's trying to say I did.
She used me.
Feelings change, things happen.
I'm just not going to be friends with her anymore.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cheek versus Bailey. Step forward, please.
19-year-old student Kevin Cheek is suing his ex-roommate, 21-year-old bank representative Blake Bailey, for the return of rent. Kevin says they were evicted after only 2 weeks.
Mr. Cheek, according to what I read, you rented a room from the defendant in his condo or apartment.
Yes.
You rented it in May of this year. Is that correct?
Yes.
You gave him $600?
Yes.
That was your monthly rent for the room.
Yes.
You moved in May 2nd, 2003.
Yes.
According to your complaint, something happened with the landlord of the whole place, not this young man. And they told everybody that they had to be out by the end of May. So you decided to leave May 19th. And you want him to give you all your money back.
Yes.
Why do you think you're entitled to any money back?
Because I paid him $600
That
when
I said.
moved in. Yes, and I wasn't informed. There's a few things I wasn't informed about when I moved in, such as the drug dealing going around the house. There was always people coming in and out, nonstop, and it was just always a problem around me, and I'm not into that. I don't do that, and I don't know, the landlord can actually add to that. He knows a little about that.
The landlord of it...
Nope.
The landlord told them they had to be out the end of the month.
I wasn't informed in that when I moved in. He never told me. The landlord told him the month before that they were to be out by next month. And I was never told that before when I paid him the money. He never told me that. And nobody had to pay rent. The landlord said, everybody move out, nobody pay rent, and just get out of here, you know? So there's no reason why I shouldn't get my $600 back if nobody else paid money. So, but there was other things I was actually told about.
No, he's just a interesting businessman. You wouldn't rent from the landlord. You rented from him. You paid $600 a month for your room for the entire month of May. You didn't like what was going on. You said there was drug deal, whatever was going on in the house. It started right as soon as you moved in.
Yes.
Correct? So you stayed there May 2nd, May 3rd, May 4th, May 5th, May 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, right?
Yes.
And you moved out the 19th.
Yes.
You could have stayed the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th.
No, because it was, there's too much going on. There was.
Now listen to me. Listen to me, sir. Same thing that was going on May 18th would have been going on May 28th.
Yes.
You paid $600. Is it your complaint that he didn't pay any money, so why should you have to pay?
Yeah, I think it's totally he should pay, you know. It's money that wasn't given to the landlord. Landlord never
you
received
gave it to your landlord. That's your landlord. He's not your landlord. You never signed a lease with him. Did you, sir, just answer this question. Don't move. On May 1st, did you ever meet with this young man?
No.
On April 29th, did you ever meet with this young man?
No.
Right.
I met him that month.
Shh.
Okay.
He's not your landlord. He was your landlord. Your contract was with him. You paid him the $600. You could have stayed there the whole month.
But I chose not to because I didn't want to.
Here we go. Listen, did you ever hear of the expression, Mr. Cheek, due diligence?
No, actually.
Due diligence means when you enter into a contract, in this case it was a verbal contract for rent, you're supposed to look into the circumstances surrounding that contract. So you could have, if you wished, contacted the landlord. That's this gentleman sitting over here who's dying to talk to me, but I'm not going to let him. And said, listen, I just want to know if everything's okay with this place, whether these people are okay, how long their lease is. Because I want to know if I'm going to move in, I want to be there more than a month. Because you had a month-to-month tenancy with him if you didn't have a lease. And you didn't have a lease with him, did you?
No.
So it's month-to-month. So you could have gone to the landlord and gotten that information. You chose not to. You lived there for a month. The fact that you chose to leave on the 19th, that was your choice.
Why should I pay that full month, though? That's not $600 worth of rent.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. I'm going to give you this analogy, Mr. Cheek, and then I'm going to just dismiss your case. But I'd like you to hear the analogy. Let's say you go into a delicatessen and you order a hot pastrami sandwich on rye, which costs $9.95 because of inflation. And you get the sandwich, and it's a very, very fat sandwich. And all you can eat is half. And the bill comes, and they give you a bill for $9.95. And you say, I'm not going to pay you $9.95 for the sandwich because I only ate half. I'm only going to pay you $4.50. The owner of the delicatessen says, listen, that's your problem. You could have eaten the whole sandwich. It's not my fault you sent the rest of it back. You chose only to eat half. You chose to leave on the 19th of May, Mr. Cheek. You had a choice. Your choice was to eat the whole pastrami sandwich or just half of it. Do you understand?
Yes.
Your case is dismissed. Goodbye. Have a happy life.
I don't think it was fair.
I thought it turned out how it should.
I had my door broken down. I had no security in my room.
He was the one that was out getting drunk with the guy.
Her legal assistant, Long Guillaume, is suing her former friend, landscaper Patrick Wilson, for the cost to paint her car bumper. Lon says the car was egged while in his care.
Ms. Jiang, the defendant is your boyfriend's friend?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that he borrowed your car during a week's time that you were going to be out of town. And that while the car was in his possession, it got egged. And because that substance is so caustic, it ate away the paint on the car, and you have to have your car painted.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Wilson does not deny that the car was egged. He does not deny that it was egged while it was in his possession, although you didn't see it happen, right?
Correct.
He says that he parked it in the same place that you parked it at, and that it's not his fault. You should have had insurance to cover it, right?
Yes.
But there's another wrinkle in this case. According to you, he gave you $50.
Yes, Your Honor.
There's your problem, Mr. Wilson. Did you give her $50?
Yes, I did.
So that you gave her $50 to lease her car, to rent her car for the week.
For the use of it, yes.
So I want you to think of Miss Giang as Hertz, budget, dollar. She's a rent-a-car.
Okay.
If I left anybody out. Avis, I mean, I want to be
Dollar.
ecumenical. Dollar, whatever. She is a rent-a-car.
Okay.
Have you ever rented a car?
Yes.
And when you rent a car, you either decline insurance or you pay for insurance.
Yes.
If you pay for insurance, that means pay a little extra. That means anything that happens to the car while it's in your possession is covered.
Right.
If you decline insurance, who's responsible if something happens to that car?
I am.
Right. Now, if you merely borrowed her car, there would have to be a demonstration that something happened to her car as a result of negligence. Your negligence. But you didn't borrow her car. You rented it. You got to pay for the damage. It's your fault.
Okay.
Can I see the damage to the car, please? I'm glad he understood. I'm glad Mr. Wilson understood. Who are you?
I'm Patrick's friend, Tracy. I'm a witness.
A witness to what?
I helped clean the car basically the day we think it happened. I showed up to his house that evening right after he got off of work, just went over there after I got off of work, and he was pretty much in the process of getting ready to go clean the car.
Was it egged on the back of the car? Is that where it was egged?
Yes.
Pretty much on the back?
Yes.
Pretty much just on the bumper, is that right?
I did not see.
Well, it looks to me like the damage is on the bumper.
It's on the bumper.
It's on the bumper. And how much is it going to take to fix this bumper, to repaint the bumper?
I have 2 estimates.
Can I see it, please? Is this a new car?
Yes, ma'am.
Looks pretty new to me. $50 is a good deal. Should have cleaned it really, really thoroughly. Rear bumper, $1,094. Mr. Wilson, it's your nickel, sir.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Why is that excused? You may step out.
Although it was egged at our residence, I didn't feel like it was my fault.
I believe Judge Judy did the right thing. It was clearly his responsibility to clean the egg off my car, and it wasn't cleaned.
I didn't believe it was my responsibility because I didn't egg the car, so I didn't feel like I needed to pay for the damage that was done to the car.
His attitude was, I didn't do anything wrong. That's your fault. You know, that's your problem. You need to clean it.
I'm still friends with everybody. I don't have any problems or any hard feelings toward anybody.
I'm just glad Judge Judy saw what I saw and that he was responsible.
Auto parts buyer Catherine Juergens is suing hair salon manager Patricia Massey, stylist Zena Kanuna, and receptionist Kelly Bauer. Catherine says the blonde highlight she asked for turned out purple.
Yeah, this is case number 118 on the calendar in the matter of Juergens versus Mirror Salon. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Who's the owner of Mirror Salon?
She's not present.
Well, who's going to be speaking for
I'm
this
the
group?
manager. My name is Patricia Massey.
Good. Why don't you, the two of you, have a seat? Ms. Juergens, you went to the salon, this Mirror Salon, to have your hair cut and colored.
Yes.
And it is your claim that, aside from the haircut that was a little too short that you were not happy with, the hair color that they provided for you was really less than satisfactory, giving you a slightly purple spotted tone.
Yes.
And when you got home and you saw it in natural light, you were appalled. You went someplace else and had it redone. What you're suing for is the cost of having the process that they did at Mirror reversed, and also the bounce check costs that you stopped payment on the check that you wrote to them.
Yes.
The salon says that they want the money that you were supposed to pay them for the work that they did for you, because they would have been delighted to repair your hair had you come back to them. They didn't have that opportunity because you went elsewhere. So tell me when you went to their salon.
I went there on March 22nd.
Was this the first time that you had been there?
Yes.
Who recommended it?
I live nearby there. And
so nobody?
No one.
And you didn't have the name of a stylist or colorist? You just walked in
No, I didn't.
Cold?
I called in about a week beforehand, and I just asked for a Saturday appointment for blonde highlights and a haircut, and they suggested Zena.
Okay, so you got a haircut, and they cut your hair too short for you. But you weren't so upset about that. That happens. It's happened
It'll
to
grow.
everybody. Hair grows. What about the color?
Well, the color, we had agreed on blonde highlights and brown lowlights. She had brought out some color swatches of hair. We agreed on it, and she went ahead.
Okay. You left, you paid your bill, so in the salon it looked fine?
Yes, it did, but the lighting in the salon it's very soft,
I understand.
kind of dark.
Been there. I know what you're talking about. All right. Now, do you have pictures to show me of what it looked like in natural light?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Well, there are two where I can clearly see what you're complaining about. I'm going to show these two to the defendant. Some of the other ones I can't see. What you're complaining about are those purplish spots. Who is Zena? Step up, please. Can you explain that to me, Zena?
Well, when
I see the highlights.
Right.
And I also see some purple there that would be distressing. What's that from?
Well, when she had first walked in, she had 4 different colors in her hair. And I told her step by step what I was going to do. And we had talked about the haircut, and she loved it. Her hair was uneven, and...
Zena, don't try to confuse me. I'm not talking to you about the cut. I've already said to her, your hair was too short. It's longer now. It's fine. She'll keep your hair a little shorter anyway. It makes you look younger. What I'm talking about is the purple in her hair. She didn't come into your salon with purple in her hair. So explain to me how she ended up with purple in her hair.
It was not a purple in her hair.
That's purple.
This was under the light, so it shows like a burgundy brown. And
No, it shows peculiar looking. It doesn't show natural. It's very peculiar. You know, for somebody going to a punk rock concert, it's fine. But that is a little peculiar. Let me have it back. So what you're telling me, Zena, is you can't explain it. That's just the way the color grabbed her hair. Is that what happened?
Well, I had to use that to kill the 4 colors in her hair. And she loved it when I was done.
No. In your light, she loved it. You know, I've seen teenagers with this in their hair, but not grown-ups. They don't wear it. All right. Not awful. I mean, you didn't have spots. And you said in your complaint you had spots. I thought it would look like a leopard, you know, with spots.
Oh, no.
These were streaks of color that had purplish, reddish tints. It's the way the color grabbed your hair, right? Okay. Other than that, it looks fine. Other than that, you got nice highlights. I think she did a nice job on the highlights. It's just where the red grabbed your hair.
Correct. The blonde was fine.
So why didn't you go back to them?
I contacted the salon after I got home and saw it in the natural light, and Zena got on the phone and she kept saying, well, no, it looks good on you. You liked it when you left. And I said, no, in a natural light, it looks like red grape juice is in my hair. And I said, I have got to get this fixed. I have to go to work on Monday. I can't go to work with my hair like this.
So what did Zena say?
Well, we went back and forth for a few minutes, and then she said, I'm booked. The soonest I can take you would be Tuesday afternoon.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what did you do?
I was very upset. I needed something done. I called a salon that was open on a Sunday, asked if there was anyone there that could do corrective color.
So?
She okayed it that day, and
Zena, listen to me. The blonde highlights, dear, look fine. The purple does not look fine. Your customer called and said, when I got out into the natural light, which is where most people see me, it looks funny. I can't go to work on Monday morning like this. And you acknowledged that you said to her, there's nothing I can do. I'm booked. If somebody calls really upset, maybe you take an extra half hour, or you have somebody else take one of your clients, or you say, come in and I'll have somebody else take care of you in order to accommodate a customer. I'll hear you.
She didn't have the initial conversation with the plaintiff
Who
in
did?
the beginning. Kelly. So
fine.
When you're
Kelly, step up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It's easy. Your customer was blown off.
She wasn't blown off.
Yes, she was. She was blown off by Kelly.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Catherine Juergens claims hairstylist Zena Kanuna dyed her hair purple. She is suing for the cost to have it redone.
You had the initial conversation,
Yes.
Kelly. What did she say to you?
She called and she said she would like to come in. Her daughter said her hair looked purple when she got home, so she'd like to come in and get her hair recolored. And I said I'd have to talk to Zena and see if she could squeeze her in. So by the time I talked to Zena, it was probably around 4:30, we closed at 6, that I got a chance to talk
What
to
time
her
has
again.
she called you, Kelly?
Around 3:30.
What time had you called her?
It's about 3:30.
So you got to speak, the first opportunity that you had to speak to Zena was an hour later.
About then, yes.
Good.
I
Go
had to
ahead.
call twice.
You called twice?
Yes, I did. The
Okay,
first.
go.
Okay.
Go ahead. And what
So
happened?
the next time she called back and I talked to her, I said the next time Zena could see her would be Tuesday, that she couldn't fit her in. It's not that Zena did not want to do her, that she was not able to fit her
Don't
in.
editorialize. She called you at 3:30, and you did nothing. This is what I'm getting, Kelly. Then she called back, and when she called back, you went to speak to Zena. Is that what happened?
No, I had talked to Zena, and I hadn't had the chance to call her back yet.
But you hadn't called her back. She had to call you.
Yes.
That's not good business. Because if she hadn't called you back, you may not have called her at all if you were busy. Don't speak. Not good business. So you told her when you called back that Zena couldn't fit her in, and the earliest she could see her was Tuesday.
Yes.
How did it come about that Zena got on the phone with her?
I don't know when she talked to Zena. I think it was the second time she called back. She may have talked to Zena then.
Is that right?
No, that's not correct. The first time I called, she said Zena was with a customer and she'd give her my message. I did tell her I was unhappy with my hair, so I waited for an hour and I didn't hear anything back, so I called again and then I spoke with Zena.
so you can have a seat. And you can have a seat. It's easy. Your customer was blown off, and it wasn't good business. What did you expect her to do? I mean, you didn't know about the situation, but what would you expect her to do? Wait until Tuesday?
No. I didn't, first of all, I didn't think it looked as bad as those pictures indicate.
That's what it looks like.
And she wasn't blown off.
Yes, she was. She was blown off by Kelly. In her mind, she was blown off.
Right.
Because if you call at 3:30 and say, I'm really unhappy with my hair, would you call me back? And 4:30 comes, you know, the salon closes at 6 o'clock and nobody's called you back. And my sense is that Kelly would not have called her back. Kelly was not, on Saturday when everybody is real busy, she was not calling back a dissatisfied customer. The salon is closed Sunday and Monday probably, the earliest, because here was Tuesday anyway. What's the point in calling her back? So, what would you expect her to do?
Well, when she called the first time, she asked to speak to Zena, and the conversation was regarding that. It was also about her hair and not being happy about it, but she had asked to speak to Zena, so there really wasn't a whole lot of reason for us to call back till Zena was available.
What? You hear the groaning? They're not supposed to do that. What I'm telling you is, if you're in business and you want to keep a customer and you're not blowing her off, Kelly, who looks like a very healthy young lady, says, hold on one moment, walks over to Zena, say, can I speak to you a minute? Just take 2 seconds, put down the scissors. Did someone say she's unhappy about it? She really wants to come in. You have time for her today? No, I don't have time for her today.
Okay.
Comes back to the phone and says, I'm sorry, she can't see you today. I mean, it's not as if Zena is involved in brain surgery. She's going like this, making with some dye, right? Folding it together and putting it down, right?
Right.
That's not taking out somebody's, you know, aorta. So, she went and had her hair fixed elsewhere. As far as I'm concerned, Miss Jerkins, you only have to pay it for it once. Once. Mm-hmm. So, you didn't get the service that you wanted at their salon.
Right.
They're not entitled to be paid. So your counterclaim's dismissed. But that means that you got your hair colored the way you liked it, right?
Well, it wasn't really the way I liked it. I had to be
It's
colored
never
dark.
perfect. Come on. God makes it perfect.
I know.
Beauty parlors try their best, but it's not perfect. And then you went someplace else and had it made better, right?
Well, yeah, it was better.
Good. So why are you wasting your time suing them? You had your hair fixed. I mean, what do you want? You want them to pay you thousands of dollars because you were unhappy?
No.
So what do you want?
I wanted to be reimbursed for the correction that had to be done on my hair.
Let me explain something to you, Miss Juergens. Sometimes color grabs differently, depending upon what you had for breakfast sometimes. Even what you eat can affect how color grabs your hair. Your hormones that day can determine how color grabs your hair. How much sun you have on a particular spot in your hair can determine how color grabs your hair. It's an imperfect thing. It's not nature. It's chemical.
I understand.
So what I'm looking at, the job that Zena did, being fair to both of you, looks like a very reasonable, skilled highlight job. The only problem is that some of the color grabbed your hair wrong. Mm-hmm. Stop making a big deal. The lesson is, if you're in a service business, you're supposed to service your customers. And if she were a better serviced customer, you wouldn't be here today. And I'm not talking about Zena's work. I'm talking about what happened afterwards. It's a good lesson for people in a service business. You've got to treat everybody with respect as if you really care, not just getting them into the salon, but keeping them. Fair statement?
Fair statement.
Good. Go home. You're a very nice lady. That's all. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm just glad to have it over with. I can see that we made a mistake in not servicing the plaintiff.
I thought the outcome was fair.
I think the judge was fair.
It's not what I wanted, but I thought it was fair.
I think that just making sure that we respond to phone calls within a certain amount of time if there are any complaints. We don't get many of them, but if there are any, we'll take care of it right away.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ewing versus Arbaugh. Step forward, please.
20-year-old student Cecilia Durazo is suing her former live-in boyfriend, 22-year-old web designer Carlos Shanlate, for a loan for furniture. Carlos is countersuing, claiming Cecilia broke into his apartment and destroyed the furniture in question.
Yes, case number 141 on the calendar in the matter of Durazo versus Shanlate. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Razzo, I've read your complaint, and according to what I've read, you were living in Syracuse, New York.
Yes, I attend school there.
Mr. Charlotte was living in New York City.
That's correct, ma'am.
He was smitten and decided to move from New York City to Syracuse, New York, a decision that he lived to regret.
That's correct, ma'am.
According to you, he moved there in April of 2002, correct?
Yes.
And he got an apartment. The apartment had no furniture, and according to your complaint, you loaned him money to buy furniture so that he'd have a couch to sit on and a bed to sleep on, and he owes you $610. Mr. Charlotte said that the furniture was a gift because he relocated to live with you. The money that was advanced was never intended to be a loan. You couldn't stand the fact that he was sleeping on the floor and sitting on a crate, so that you agreed to buy him the furniture. In addition to that, Mr. Charlotte says that 4 months later you unceremoniously dumped him, right?
That's correct, ma'am.
And then broke into his apartment, causing him to have to change the locks. He ultimately went to the police. He lost a day's wages, which he's counterclaiming for. He was also fired from his job because he worked at the school where you were a student, and they made him leave the school, and on and on and on. And aside from everything else, he hated Syracuse.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So he's counterclaiming. So let's hear about the furniture.
Yes, he got an apartment. At the time, he had very little people that were willing to help him, including his parents.
Well, because he was moving to be close to you.
Which I did not ask him to do. He chose, I asked him not to move to Syracuse.
Really?
Yes.
You told him not to move to Syracuse?
Yes, several times.
Is that right?
Actually, what, Your Honor, what she had said was that she didn't think it was a good idea. However, she left the moving up to me.
She didn't think it was a good idea?
Yeah.
Because why?
Just because I had to move, job that I was working at, I had to leave that job, had to find a new job up there, those kind of circumstances, Your Honor.
So she didn't think it was so smart for you to leave New York City?
Yes.
So why did you come?
I moved because I thought that I had enough money. I thought it'd be best for us maybe to be a little closer together. There were times where there was complaints about, you know, us not being able to see each other as often.
Who was complaining, you or her?
Both parties, Your Honor.
Is that right?
More so him.
I gather. Okay, so we got there. Let's go.
He asked me to loan him the money to buy the furniture.
What did he say?
He didn't have money. He said, you know, he began working at the university. As soon as he gathered enough money, he would pay me back. Mr. Plord, who is also Mr. Charlotte's witness, was present when we bought the furniture. I bought him, well, I loaned him, I put it on my credit card. Knives, spoons, a little table that we bought, and a futon.
Were you present when this furniture was purchased?
Yes.
Step up, please. How do you know these people?
Well, she was a resident advisor at Marion Hall, and so was I, and that's how we met. And then when he moved to Syracuse, I met him because he was there.
Tell me what you know about the furniture.
It's a futon, it's a stainless
Oh, you were
steel.
there when it was purchased?
Yes. I brought the mattress home in my car.
Did you hear any conversation between the plaintiff and the defendant with regard to loan, gift?
She just put it on her credit card and didn't say much about repayment or anything.
You didn't hear any of that?
I didn't hear anything like that.
Good. You can have a seat. Okay. So you put $610 on your credit card. Is that what you put on the credit card?
Yes, we've met several times after we broke up, even for lunch, discussing when payment would be made. So there's been plenty of discussion about the payment of the furniture, and Mr. Porter was also there when Mr. Charlotte admitted that he did owe me that money.
Okay, fine. Now, sir, you say that she broke into the apartment and she destroyed the furniture.
Yes.
Is that true?
That is true, Your Honor.
Is that true?
I did not break into his apartment. We had a
Did you destroy the furniture?
No, I did not
Did
destroy.
you do anything to the furniture?
I will tell you how he claims.
No. Tell me what you did to the furniture.
I went to his apartment. I had the key, which he gave me. I went, he has a very narrow spiral staircase, and I slipped. It was myself and another girl. It was about my size. It's a pretty heavy futon, just the mattress. And we were unable to get it down the spiral staircase, so we had to throw it over.
Throw it over what?
The staircase is a spiral and it's thin. We could not physically get it through the staircase, so we had to throw it over.
And what? Put your hand down.
Okay.
And what happened when you threw it over? You mean just the mattress?
Well, yeah, we got it down there, like I said, I slipped, and we got it down there. And then once we were trying to get it in my friend Kenny's car, who took us to get the mattress, and we weren't able to. So we left to go find Carlos so I can retrieve the rest of my items, the futon frame and everything else I had in the apartment.
Could you tell me what you did with the futon?
The mattress?
I lost you at it. You couldn't get it in your car after you threw it over the railing.
Yeah, I left it there because there's nowhere. I could not.
Where?
I left it on the ground outside because...
You get nothing for the furniture.
The futon frame is...
You get nothing for the furniture. Madam.
The mattress costs only about $200 compared to...
I don't care. In order for him to be able to use the futon frame, he has to have a futon. You destroyed the futon.
He had a year to pay me back for it. And
Then if you had waited and done exactly what you did by filing a small claims case against him, you would have gotten your money if I found that, indeed, he promised to pay you back. But what you did was, first you went to his house, you destroyed part of the property that put him in a position where he couldn't use it, because in order to use a futon frame, because I know what they look like, you have to have a futon mattress. So either he had to go out and buy a new futon mattress so that he could use it, or he gets rid of the frame. You get nothing for the furniture. Do you understand?
Do I get my furniture back?
What furniture back?
It belongs to me. I paid for it. So can I have the futon?
If he's got it,
Your
do you
Honor,
have the frame?
It is currently in Jonathan Plord's dorm room.
Oh, fine.
So she can go pick it up also.
Perfect. Just a second.
All right.
So far, you're not doing badly, right?
Yes.
She's going to come over and get the frame.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Jonathan? Zippity-doo-dah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That I do not have. He has not returned my phone calls.
Listen, I'm getting really frustrated. And I shouldn't be frustrated. I'm too old to be frustrated.
And later today...
The change out of my piggy bank is missing.
You think she took all that?
I'm not sure. From what
Give me a break.
Me,
she don't look like the kind of person who would steal your property, madam.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cecilia Durazo claims ex-boyfriend Carlos Shanlate owes for a loan to buy furniture. Carlos says Cecilia destroyed the furniture in question.
Let's get to your counterclaim. So we've just taken care of your claim. Futon frame, back to her, 5 days. Perfect.
Do I get the money for the spoons and table and
No.
everything else?
No, you don't get the money for the spoons. Now let's move on. She used the key, she acknowledges, to go into your apartment, so you had to change the locks. On what date did she go into your apartment?
I believe that was April 26th. It was a Saturday.
And when did you leave that apartment?
About a week and a half later.
Now, do you have a receipt from a locksmith for changing the locks on the apartment?
No, my landlord did the lock change. He charged me for the lock. And
Show me.
I don't have it.
Well, that's what we call proof. In court, we need proof.
I do have photographs of the damage to the apartment, which caused me to lose my security deposit, though, Your Honor.
Show me proof that the landlord kept your security deposit. Do you have that?
No, that I do not have. He has not returned my phone calls.
Listen, I'm getting really frustrated. And I shouldn't be frustrated. I'm too old to be frustrated. When you come to court, you have to have proof. Do you understand?
I understand, Your Honor.
You don't have proof for me. It's very easy to get a letter, statement, showing that I'm not returning your security deposit, because I would assume that if the apartment wasn't a wreck, you would have gotten your security deposit back, right?
Yes. Also, on top of that, because I was forced to resign from my job, I had to abruptly leave Syracuse. And my lease, which I have here, states that I have to let him know 2 months ahead of time that I'm leaving, or else he keeps the security deposit.
There you go. And you had to leave Syracuse because, according to you, you worked at the same place that she worked.
Yes, and my...
Well, I mean, that's all hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
That would all be hearsay, why you had to leave. But you did leave.
Yes.
Now you are apart from each other. And I assume you're back in New York City?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Working?
At the current time, I'm working with a web design company down in Miami, working from home.
I don't care where you're working from. You're working.
Yes.
Are you living alone or with your parents?
Currently, I'm living with my parents looking for another apartment.
Perfect. That sounds fine. And you're going to get your futon frame back. That's perfect. Goodbye. Good luck. Have a happy life.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He knows that he owes me the money.
She seems to forget the bills that I have paid.
And he refuses to pay me.
However, we had an argument.
He had another bill to pay.
And she didn't confront me as, you know, as a normal human being would.
He just didn't have the money.
She came at me with rage.
There was always an excuse.
You can't trust some women.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Slade versus Ellis. Step forward, please.
30-year-old administrative assistant Janine Barnard is suing her twin sister, administrative assistant Jennifer Barnard, for unpaid loans, forgery, and for an outstanding cell phone bill.
All rise. Now, this is case number 180 on the calendar in the matter of Barnard versus Barnard. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Twin sisters that don't get along. That's what we have here. Have you always not gotten along?
No.
When did you stop getting along?
Well, when she got back from Puerto Rico.
Listen, I don't know when that was.
2 months ago.
So prior to 2 months ago, you got along just fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that right?
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
So for 30 years, you got along?
No. No, we didn't get along. We fought before because this has happened in the past before.
What's
no,
your first name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Which one of you came out of the womb first?
Me. She did.
And your name?
Janine.
Janine. So Janine is your older sister?
Yes.
How many minutes?
By 12 minutes.
Have either of you ever been married?
No.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an administrative assistant.
And you?
Administrative assistant.
Do you work at the same place?
No.
And you don't live together?
No. No, we do
This
not.
is your boyfriend?
Yes.
What does he do for a living?
He's a labor worker.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Yep.
What does he do?
He's not working right now. He's injured.
What's the nature of his injury?
He has a bad knee right now.
So you're supporting the household?
No, I live at home. She's lying. She's paying his rent. She lives.
That's her business. What do you live with?
My parents.
And you don't?
No.
You live with a boyfriend?
Yes. I've lived on my own for 9 years.
Okay. So now we have a little bit of the background. We have twins, the older twin by 12 minutes?
Yes.
And your kid's sister?
That's correct.
According to your complaint, you loaned your kid's sister $300 because she was behind in rent.
I loaned her $180 for the rent itself.
And what was the other money for?
Money that I just lent to her for food, for sneakers, for clothing, because...
Was it all at one time that you lent her this money?
No, it was not at all at one time, no.
Over what period of time did you give her this $300?
I'd say probably over, it was a 4-month period.
Miss Barnard?
Yes.
Forget it. Did you give her one large lump sum of money?
I gave her $180 so she could move out of her apartment. No, I paid that, and the only person that helped me move was my brother, and it was on his credit card.
Just a second. She says she gave you $180. You saying that that's not true?
Yes, that's not true.
When did you move?
I moved in February.
Tell me about when your sister asked you for this loan.
Well, she was trying to move. She owed back rent, so I lent her the money so she could get the money. Then I rented a U-Haul on the 16th for her so she could move.
Just a second. Is this $180 that you gave her in cash, or is that including...
It was cash because I didn't know I would have to give a money order to my sister to have her pay me back.
Do you have any proof that on or around the 16th of February you took $180 out of a bank or out of a credit card or from an ATM?
Yes, yeah.
Let me see it.
I don't have my bank statement on me. I go to the ATM and withdraw money out. I don't have it on me right this second. But
the second is what counts.
I understand that.
All right. Now I want you to tell me about the other part of your lawsuit, which has to do with a cell phone or a phone bill that you say you had absolutely nothing to do with.
Yeah. Back in a few months ago, I went to try to purchase a cell phone, and they said that I owe them $319.27
You owe them?
Yep, the phone company.
And did you say, I don't have this phone number?
Yeah, I didn't have any recollection of it at all. I told them it wasn't me, and I had to look into it and call the fraud department at the phone company to research it.
And what happened when you researched it? What did you
I researched it. I asked them for a copy of the agreement that was signed to get the phone, and I have it right here. This was in 1994, 10 years ago. And I have no recollection of it. I didn't sign anything.
Recollection.
I didn't sign it, excuse me, recollection. And it's clearly that the signature, the A's above, the A's on the printing above is different from the A in the signature print. Next to her, the signature, the A's are clearly different.
This is from 1994. This is actually 10 years ago. I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, well, because I tried to get a cell phone, and they said that I have to owe the money. I actually got copies of the bills stating the forwarding address from the Quincy address to a Mattapan address, which is her boyfriend, Maurice Sherman Hines.
This is Maurice?
Yes, it is.
Maurice, stand up here a second. Your girlfriend's Jennifer, is that right?
Yes.
Did Jennifer ever get you a cell phone?
No.
Did Janine ever get you a cell phone?
Yes.
When did Janine get you a cell phone?
It was about 10 years ago.
She says that $319 is owed from an old phone. Clearly the phone that you say she got for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you acknowledge that this phone was the phone that the plaintiff bought for you in 1994, and you owe on that phone $319.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So why don't you pay it?
Haven't had no money to pay it, and she just brought it up to me a couple of weeks ago.
What do you do for a living?
I work at Labor Ready.
Labor Ready?
Yes.
That means that you go...
And do hard work.
You
Whatever
live
needs to be
together?
done. No.
Do you have children?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
One.
With whom?
Jennifer.
You had to think about that? Is this Jennifer or another Jennifer?
This is Jennifer right here.
This Jennifer.
Yes.
How old is this child that you have with Jennifer?
9.
Oh. Costa Rica. Do you know that I've heard good things about Costa Rica? That they have a very large American population in Costa Rica. Let's go back for a second. You've been together 10 years. You have a 9-year-old child. Is there any reason why you're not married?
Never thought about it.
What?
Never thought about it.
Never thought about it. You have a mother and father,
Yes.
Jennifer?
Mm-hmm.
How long have they been married?
Still married.
Well, not still married. How long is the number?
God, like 50 years.
50 years?
Maybe 45 years.
So that you know about the concept of marriage.
Yes. And I don't want to get married right now. Why? I just don't want to.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That might
That's
be
a big commitment. I'm not...
No, well, certainly.
I mean...
Certainly, just a second. Bird, please, Bird. Bird, certainly, having a child is more like getting a pet goldfish. That is not a commitment. But getting married certainly is a commitment that one wouldn't want to think about after 9 years of, or 10 years of living together.
You have a point.
How long have we been doing this?
How long have we been doing this? A long time, 25 years.
And how many times have we heard, I'm not ready for a commitment?
I'm not ready for a commitment, you know, and when the kid is graduating from elementary school, maybe we'll think about a commitment of marriage.
College, maybe.
College, maybe.
We've been together off and on, not
Costa Rica, maybe.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And later today,
she saw a ring that she liked. And she said, I really like that ring. Would you buy it for me? And you said, I'll only buy it for you if you really love me. And she said, I really love you.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janine Barnard says her twin sister, Jennifer Barnard, used her information to set up a cell phone account.
You've had 10 years to pay the $319. So let me explain this to you, Miss Jennifer. Mr. Wonderful over here may not be prepared to make a commitment, and you may not be prepared to make a commitment to each other, even for the sake of your child. Do you understand? That's your business. I can't clear up the world one case at a time. But I can tell you this. You are going to pay that $319 for the phone bill that you owe. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
And if you don't want to pay, Jennifer is going to pay it to her on your behalf. And then Jennifer can get the money back from you. We understand each other, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
That doesn't sound unreasonable, does it?
No, not at all.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $319. Get out of here.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I agreed with what Judge Judy said.
It's bogus. It's 10 years old.
He just didn't know that he owed the money, and she could have just asked him out for it.
And she brought the phone for me out of the kindness of her heart.
Because she's money hungry and she just wants money.
So why should I give her money for a present that she gave me?
I don't have a future relationship with my sister.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Shania versus Irby. Step forward, please.
21-year-old Stockport ultrasound technologist Kathy Cassidy is suing her daughter's former friend, 21-year-old UPS worker Colin Graves for wrecking her BMW. Colin says he was picking up cocaine for Kathy's daughter.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 128 on the calendar in the matter of Cassidy versus Graves. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats. You're welcome.
Bird, this is another one of those cases of Dumb and Dumber, and Mama gets to pay the bill.
Ooh.
Which one is your daughter?
Erin.
That's dumb. Dumber. Miss Cassidy made the mistake of letting her daughter borrow her car. Her daughter went to a party and got blotto drunk. So far correct, Miss Cassidy?
Pretty accurate.
Somehow or another, Mr. Graves over here, dumber, got the car and wrecked it. Mr. Graves' defense, while he acknowledges that he went over a curb or a building, is that right, sir? You're not exactly sure.
Technically.
Thereby damaging the car, has a novel defense. So we have agreed on a certain state of facts. Miss Cassidy, the mother, owner of the car, daughter whose name is?
Erin Cassidy.
Drunk, blotto, laid out. He takes the car. Now we're going to hear his defense. We can't wait.
All right. Well, we're at a party at my friend's house, and Erin asked me to go pick up an errand for her. And
Pick up what?
Pick up an errand.
Pick up an errand.
Yeah.
Is that heavy?
No. No, it's not.
Erin asked you to what?
To drive her car to go pick up an errand for her.
To go pick up an errand. Could you describe what an errand is, sir? Because Bird and I don't understand what an errand is. Is that bigger than a bread box, smaller than a bread box? What does it do? What does an errand do?
It's an illegal substance.
An errand is called an illegal substance.
No,
Bird,
that's what I went
have you ever heard an illegal substance called an errand?
Not in this lifetime.
Not in this lifetime. And having been around family courts and the court system for a long time, we would have heard, I mean, we've heard of a lot of things, but we've never heard of an illegal substance called an errand. We're going to start again, Mr. Graves.
Okay.
You were at a party, and Erin asked you to what?
To go pick up some cocaine for her.
Okay. Did she give you any money? I would like you to look in my eyes when you speak to me.
All right. She tried to give me some money, but she couldn't find her wallet because she was too drunk. And so we went looking for her wallet, and I found it outside in the front, or next to the front door. So.
Look at my eyes.
Sorry.
So you took money out of her wallet, or you brought the wallet back to her?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh, what? Uh-huh is not an answer.
Yes.
Well, you see what I mean, Dumb and Dumber?
Dumb and Dumberer.
Dumb and Dumberer. Uh-huh is not an answer. Either you took the money out of her wallet, or you brought the wallet back to her for her to take the money out of it, and uh-huh is not an answer. Column A or column B? Which one was it?
Took the wallet to her.
And she took the money out?
No, she said to look in it and take the money.
And how much money did you take out?
Just 20 bucks.
20 bucks. And where did you go to purchase this cocaine for Erin with the 20 bucks?
From a friend of mine.
Friend of yours?
Yeah, well, a friend of ours.
A mutual friend. The person's name?
I can't give that.
Oh, yes, you can.
All right.
You're here in court. I'm asking you a question. I have to decide whether or not you're telling me the truth. The person's name?
Justin?
Justin what?
I don't know. I don't want to give it to you. Sorry.
Now, you're in the car on your way with the 20 bucks to buy cocaine for Erin, who was drunk. So drunk she couldn't even find her own wallet. And what happened with the car, Mr. Graves?
Well, I was turning to a left-hand turn lane, and I got a glare in my eye.
What time was it?
I think 11 or so.
At
11?
night?
Yes.
Was it a sun glare?
No, it was from a light, because I wear contacts.
It was from what light, because you wear...
The street light. Like, you know, the light that's red, green, signal light. And I
so
got...
because you wear contact lenses, it affects your light in a way different from the way it affects normal people?
No, not necessarily. I don't know how normal people see because I'm not a normal seer.
You're not normal, is what you're saying. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, I'm not trying to say that.
You were blinded by the light. And what happened?
Well, I drive a truck, so I'm not used to her quick handling, and sorry.
You got blinded by the light. And what happened?
And I was turning to the left-hand turn lane, and there's an island there. And I went up the curb onto the island.
Thereby damaging the
rims.
Then you went and bought the cocaine.
Yes.
And you brought it back to the house.
Yes.
And what did you do with it?
Well, I went to go find Erin, but she was passed out on my friend's bed.
And?
And so then I just gave it to someone else.
You gave Erin's cocaine to somebody else?
Well, someone else was purchasing some too at the same time.
You mean you drove somebody else also to your friend Justin's house to buy the cocaine?
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Well, how many purchasers... Bird. This is very serious business. This is the future of our country here that's standing here.
Merely cleaning my
This is the
glasses.
future of America.
Mm-hmm.
How many purchasers were in the car altogether, Mr. Graves?
None of them were purchasers.
Well,
But
that
they were
was
just-
you.
I wasn't purchasing.
Sure, you were purchasing.
Oh, I was purchasing it for other people.
You were
I
an
guess.
errand.
Yes.
Sorry, he was an errand. And then there was at least one other person who you also said was in the car also purchasing, right?
No. No other person in the car was purchasing besides me.
I thought you said somebody else in the house. You gave
Well,
it to...
I brought 2 people with me, but they weren't purchasing any. They were just going along for the ride.
So you gave it to...
The person that was back at the house.
Just because they were... Was it their birthday or anything?
Not that I know of.
Was it a bar mitzvah present?
No.
Just because you were a nice guy. Because you don't do any cocaine.
No, not anymore.
Hmm?
Not anymore.
I don't mean now, I mean then.
Yeah, I did.
It's party time. So you just gave away the cocaine. Didn't want to use any of it yourself that night. Didn't want to save any for later.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You know what makes me doubt what he said? The fact that when he came back, and because she was sleeping, he gave the cocaine away.
And later today,
I'm not happy, you're not happy, let's call this quits. And he then crossed the double yellow line in my car and started driving towards oncoming traffic full force.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kathy Cassidy says her daughter's former friend, Colin Graves, damaged her BMW when he drove it over a curb. Colin says Kathy's daughter asked him to go buy cocaine.
How much did it cost you to fix this car, Miss Cassidy?
$25, $34, $95 or something.
Do you have any proof of that?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Where's the car now, Miss Cassidy?
It's in my possession.
Did you give her the car back?
Well, she still uses it on occasion, but the story of what happened isn't exactly as...
I don't necessarily buy everything that he says.
Right.
You know what makes me doubt what he said? The fact that when he came back, and because she was sleeping, he gave the cocaine away.
Yeah.
I tried to wake her up.
That's not what I'm
sure you
talking
did.
about. That he gave it away because he didn't want to use it himself, you know, even though then he was using cocaine occasionally, he didn't want to use it, so he just
Right.
gave it to a friend.
Right. That's very kind.
Do you understand? We're
Yeah.
not kind.
Yeah.
Kind. So I'm sure somewhere in the middle of what your daughter told you and what Mr. Future of America told me lies the truth.
Yes.
It really is irrelevant.
Yes.
She was irresponsible.
Yes, she was.
She drove a car and she got drunk. He acknowledges that she was drunk, so that he should not have taken her car, because if she was drunk, she was in no position to give advised consent to him taking the car.
That's right.
And therefore, he should not have taken it, whether he was doing errand for her
Yeah.
or not, or doing errand for somebody else, or just being a jerk. He should not have taken the car because she was drunk. And I don't think you have to suffer for that. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that your daughter did the wrong thing by taking your car and putting herself in a position
Right.
where
I
she wasn't totally
agree.
together.
And
Okay?
she agrees. She
Good.
understands.
Absolutely fine. In any event, Mr. Graves was driving the car. Unfortunately for him, he was blinded by whatever light it was. Maybe it was a shooting star. He owes you $25.34. That's $2,534. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. Goodbye, and I wish us all luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I did not ask for drugs that night, and I did not tell him to go take my car to do drugs. In fact, he was the one that did the drugs, so.
She was coherent at the time when I asked her for her keys.
I was never asked. That's not the truth.
And Alicia was inside the room with me when I got the keys from her.
So that was the first lie.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pike versus Pedersen, step forward, please.
Landscaper Richard Pike is suing ex-girlfriend, loan consultant Tanya Pedersen, for breaking a lease when he suddenly moved out. Tanya says Richard told her he wanted to be single again.
Mr. Pike, the defendant was your girlfriend. According to your complaint, you lived together someplace else, and you've been together for a while, and you came down to
San Diego,
and took an apartment together, along with a third roommate. Is this the third roommate?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Good. You signed a lease, all three of you, and you moved in February of this year. And according to you, a month later, the defendant moved out.
Yes.
And you want her to be responsible for her third share of the remainder of the lease, right?
That's correct.
Plus, you want her to pay for half the amount that you believe she owes on a credit card that's in your name because you used it to pay joint bills.
Correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Peterson says that you made it unsafe for her to live there and that she doesn't owe you anything on the credit card. She paid as she went. And she says, how dare you sue her for any money when you used her car and her gas and her insurance on the car for almost a year without giving her any money.
That's correct.
The lease was signed January 1st or starting February 1st?
February 5th, I believe it was.
How many bedrooms are in the apartment?
2 bedrooms.
You were sharing one with Miss Peterson.
Correct.
And
Joseph
had his own bedroom. So how much rent was Joseph paying?
$650 a month, I believe it was, and we were paying $670.
Are you all still living there? Is that right?
Joseph and I are, yes.
You're going to continue to stay there?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't want anybody else sharing your room with you, do you?
Not at this particular moment, no.
Then why are you bothering her about the rent?
Because we moved in with an agreement that we had planned all this, and if she had, not wanted to live there, then she shouldn't have moved in the first place. And
well, let's go back a second. She moved out on what date?
Approximately March 8th.
March 5th, Your Honor.
And did you pay March's rent?
Yes, I did.
What about April? Did you give money in April?
No, I did not.
That's incorrect, Your Honor. She paid me for April rent.
Okay.
You paid for April rent. See that? How did she give you April's rent?
Reluctantly.
No, how did she give it to you?
In a check, form of a cashier's check made out to the landlord.
Now, Miss Peterson, you want to tell me why you moved out?
Yes. On the morning of March 5th, on the way to work, we had been sharing my car, and he was driving me to work. He was venting to me about wanting to be single, about feeling like a...
No, I want you to tell me what he said.
Okay. He basically said he wanted to be single.
And you said why?
He said that I was inadequate, pretty much.
And Mr. Pike, you remember that conversation?
But I didn't tell her she was inadequate.
What did you tell her?
I told her that, I was frustrated with the way things were going as far as, me doing all the cleaning and upkeep on all the things and the bills and worrying about the bills. And wasn't being, I was just being figurative when I said that. I wasn't being literal. Just something I said off the top of my head.
That'll teach you. So you told...
So on the way, he dropped me off. I let it go. He picked me up from work, and I said, well, I want to finish this conversation. I agree with you. I'm not happy. You're not happy. Let's call this quits. And he said, well, why aren't you happy? I said, there's lots of reasons. And he then crossed the double yellow line in my car and started driving towards oncoming traffic full force.
That's incorrect, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
We're coming towards oncoming traffic, and he peels into a parking lot, slams on the brakes, yelling profanities at me, jumps out of the car, slams the door, walks away. I was standing there shaking, about 5 minutes.
So you had a big fight?
Yes, and I left, drove away, got my stuff, and
left. Okay. Does the fight sound familiar to you? That
half of it does. I was stranded out where I was left, and then my roommate came to pick me up.
So you remember having this big fight?
Right.
Mr. Pike, if I find that it's not a good idea for the two of you to live together, which I do, you're not happy with her, she's not happy with you, you're certainly not going to share a room together for the next 10 months. You have to do, or she has to do, what we call mitigating the damages, which means reducing any damages that there might be. So you can do either one of 3 things, Mr. Pike. You can either pay it yourself with Joseph, and the two of you live there together. That's one choice. You can, at this date, find a new roommate to share your room with you, your bigger room. That's your second choice. The third choice is to have Miss Peterson find you a roommate. She might be able to do that. You might not like it. But that would also mitigate your damages. So you want to tell me what's your pleasure?
According to the choices, let's see.
One from column A, one from B. Or is it door C?
But there's no room for someone to move in there. When am I have another guy move in there like we're in college, you know? I mean, I'm 30 years old. And she signed a lease. Why did she sign a lease if she didn't want to live there?
Because, Mr. Pike, when she signed the lease, it was anticipated by both of you that you would be able to share a room together and live as a couple.
We did for a year and a half before that in Seattle.
Pay careful attention to me, sir. That didn't work out. And based upon what I heard, it didn't work out by mutual agreement. You weren't happy, and you let her know that. She wasn't happy. Then there was a flare-up, and I find that it is not in the best interest of the community for the two of you to be forced to live together. Therefore, in contract law, you have to do what's necessary to mitigate your damages. She's not moving in with Joseph because he's your friend. You want to stay there with him alone, pay your rent. You want her to find you a roommate? I'll order that she put ads in the newspaper, select somebody. You never can tell, you may get a roommate that looks like her. Go ahead.
I'll take choice A on that one.
That you and Joseph will stay together. I sort of thought that you would. Now, you want to go into this credit card with me, sir?
She couldn't get a credit card because of her current credit status, so I filed for a credit card, got one, and we used it just for groceries, living expenses. It was always agreed upon. You know, she'd always promised to pay half of it.
Now I'll hear your end of it.
Yes. The whole time that we were together, I used my debit card for food purchases, gas purchases, car purchases, insurance. He was using my car for a year. The total amount of expenses that were incurred for both of us over the last 12 months is over $10,000.
Show me.
Then, Your Honor, that's incorrect because I sold my truck August of 2002 for us to have money to move down here. And so I only used her car in Seattle for like 2 months.
I'm looking at her debits. I want to see her debits since while you were living together.
And you can note on there... Oh.
Shh. And I want to see the final bill as of March 5th. Well, it seems she had a bank balance and she had money that she was taking out pretty regularly. Larger
I used
item.
my debit card as well as the credit card, too. I mean, I
Show
had
me.
a debit card as well.
Show me.
I didn't bring my own, brought the credit card statements with me.
Well, did you work?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she work?
Yes, when we moved down here, neither one of us were working, and we were using the credit card to live on.
Can I? That's inaccurate.
Well, she's got some items here where she went grocery shopping and used her debit card, sir. If she went shopping for food and she spent $42 for food, and then you went the next time and used your credit card, do you expect any judge to sit there and figure out the difference and who owes who what? That's what happens when you live together. We do not have a court system in place for people who almost have a commitment to each other. It just doesn't work that way, Mr. Pike. Get over it. Hope you and Joseph are very happy together. Take your bills and pay them. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I wasn't safe. I couldn't stay.
She's melodramatic, and she likes to just be dramatic about things, and it's a bunch of BS.
Substance abuse issues, mental abuse, emotional abuse, you name it. It was horrible. I'm so glad that I don't live there anymore.
She didn't make payments and basically was going to dodge out.
It was really scary.
23-year-old medical assistant Lisa Espinoza is suing her ex-boyfriend, 29-year-old mechanic Juan Ruiz, for unpaid credit card bills, the return of personal belongings, and emotional distress.
Quiet in the courtroom, please. Yeah, this is case number 151 on the calendar in the matter of Espinoza versus Ruiz. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Miss Espinoza, according to what I read, you and the defendant were in a long-term relationship, and you have a child together. How old is your child?
She's going to be 6 on Sunday.
And you lived together for a period of time?
Yeah.
You claim that he owes you his portion of a credit card bill.
Mm-hmm.
He has some of your personal property from when the two of you separated, and that was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
You also won a whole bunch of money for emotional distress.
Mm-hmm.
It was a year ago, September, that you separated. Is that right?
It was a while, like in December.
December 2001.
You separated in December of 2001.
I tried to hold on, and I did things for her.
You separated in December of 2001. When was this credit card bill amassed?
I got it back in '99 when we were together, and I didn't use it for a while, maybe almost a year, and then we were short of money because...
Miss Espinoza, let me cut to the chase, madam. Were all of the bills on the credit card amassed by December of 2001?
Yes.
We are now in 2003. So what I want you to tell me is, where have you been for 2 years?
I've been asking him to help me pay it, and he's been agreeing to help me pay it also.
But he hasn't for 2 years, is that right?
That's right.
Now, tell me about the property that you left behind, Ms. Espinoza.
When I was going to leave him, he did not want me to leave, so he held me down on the bed and told me I was never going to leave him and that it was never going to happen. I then told him I had to convince him to let me leave. He then tried to tell me that I could leave, but without my daughter. If I took my stuff, I couldn't take my daughter. So I decided to try to convince him that I was going to come back, but I just needed some space. I needed some time to get everything that I wanted to do in my life together, because I wasn't...
Good. All right, now I'm getting into this sounds like a soap opera, and I'm not interested in a soap opera. What property did you leave behind?
I had shoes I hadn't even worn. I had all my clothes there. I had all my my schooling papers. I had a lot of pictures of me and my family, of my daughter that I had.
So you're talking about shoes and pictures and papers?
And I also had a lot of stuff, sentimental value stuff that my mom had given to me because she's passed on.
Ms. Espinoza, what do you want back after 2 years, madam?
Well, I know he doesn't have none of my stuff.
So if he doesn't have any of your stuff, what do you want me to do?
I just want something in return for it, because I feel that all this stuff to me was taken away from me.
And you should... Was taken away. Try taken away. Then you should have pursued this case in 2001.
I know.
I don't know what you wait for 2 years for and then say, well, I can't get my papers back and I can't get my pictures back, but I want him to financially compensate me.
Because I was trying to be a nice person. And
then why are you bothering the courts now?
Because he has not been nice to me at all, and I feel like...
He hasn't been nice to you because that's what happens when people separate. Sometimes they're not nice to each other. Now, I'm giving you 30 seconds about your emotional distress. You got 30 seconds. Tell me about your emotional distress.
When I first met him, I was 16. He was 22. We met each other, and we got together, and I got pregnant, like, almost immediately. When I first tried...
And whose fault was that?
It was both of our faults.
Good. So, yeah. Let's go.
And when I told him that I was pregnant, he told me no, he didn't care, he didn't want nothing to do with me. And
is that the emotional distress you're talking about? Well, get to the emotional distress you're talking about, Miss Espinoza.
For 6 years, he put me through everything. I was not allowed to have friends. I wasn't allowed to get a job. I wasn't allowed to basically walk out of the house unless I asked him for permission.
So, how do you think the courts compensate one for that?
I've just been through so much. I haven't been able to do nothing.
So, whose fault is that?
It's my fault. That's
good. Perfect. That's taken care of. It's your fault. It's your fault because just as you walked in the door, you walk out of the door.
Exactly. That's why I'm here right now. Because I don't want to let him get away with this. He's gotten away with a lot of things.
Miss Espinoza, I don't know what you're fabricating in your mind. What do you mean, let him get away with what?
With taking my property and not being able to pay for it. I didn't take nothing of his.
Listen to me. If in December of 2001, you went into small claims court or you went to the police and said, I have to get back into my apartment because I have my clothes and my shoes there and my pictures, they would have taken you. You would have gotten your shoes, you would have gotten your pictures, you would have gotten your papers, finished. You cannot wait 2 years and say to somebody, now after 2 years, I want to be compensated because I know you don't have my pictures and papers anymore, but because I didn't pursue my rights immediately, now you have to pay the consequences. Do you understand? There comes a time when you have to take responsibility for yourself.
Yes, I understand that.
Good. Now, Mr. Ruiz says that he left you an engagement ring. Is that true?
No. I lost it when we were together.
That's what she says. I don't believe nothing what she told me in the past.
He was with me when I lost it.
Well, tell me where you lost it.
He was taking me to work. I had it on my lap while I was putting lotion on. When I got out of the car, I forgot that I had it on my lap.
When was it?
It was after we separated, maybe like 5 months after we separated.
So you lost it after you separated?
Yes.
Why didn't you give it back to him when you separated?
He proposed to me after I left him, and I told him I didn't want it. I told him to keep it until I said yes. He told me no, to keep it even if I said no.
Is that right?
No, that's not true, Your Honor.
That doesn't sound right to me. Did you ask for it back?
The thing is, she just led me on. We're going to be together, and that's it. She just used me, pretty much. You know, if she didn't really want it.
So the answer is you did not ask for it back.
Yeah, I told her after we split up, yes, I want it back.
When did you tell her you wanted it back?
I probably told her this, probably like in November. I want whatever.
November of what?
2002.
So a year later.
Like I said, she spent time. She stayed with me here and there, but it was just being.
So in November, you said you wanted the ring back.
Yeah. She said she lost it. You know, like I said, I don't believe nothing.
She said she lost it.
Yeah, that's what she said. I don't know what she did with it.
Can I see the credit card bill that you had from December 2001? Mr. Ruiz says that the reason you are pursuing this now is because you recently lost a custody case involving your daughter. Is that true?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Stop being a victim. Be a grown-up. You have a 6-year-old child.
Your Honor, every time we go to court, she doesn't have her story straight.
I have her story straight.
And later today.
Did anything happen before the engine seized?
The oil light came on, possibly. I didn't see it. I wasn't driving.
Colleen, let's not play games with each other so that way you won't be embarrassed.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lisa Espinoza says ex-boyfriend Juan Ruiz owes for credit card bills, the return of property, and emotional distress. Juan says Lisa still has the engagement ring.
Listen to me, Miss Espinoza. I want you to tell me about the custody case.
In this past year, I filed for child custody and for child support because he wasn't helping me financially. I was working 65 hours a week.
Just a
to take
second.
care of my
Where
daughter.
was the baby staying?
With me the whole time.
All the time?
Yes.
Not spending time with her father?
She would once in a while when we would go see him. Only when we were together, but he didn't have her by herself.
Then you had a hearing before a judge?
Yes.
What was the outcome of the hearing before the family court judge?
The judge told me that I worked too much, that because...
Can I see a copy of the order? Do you have a copy of the
I
custody
just
order?
had the mediation, what
Can I
was
see
agreed
it?
on.
What you agreed on?
It was originally ordered I had my daughter 60-40, 4 days and her 3 days. But
So-
she was crying and everything, and you know, I want to do this for my daughter, so I agreed to give her 50% of time in mediation.
Let me see. Was the original order 60-40? That he had the child 4 days a week and you had the child 3 days a week?
Because of my...
I don't care what it was before. I'm asking you. I can't go into what it was because of. What I'm asking you is, was that the original order?
Yes, it was.
So he had the child 60%, you had 40%, and then you went to mediation that was
Yes.
just resolved. And the parties shared joint legal and physical custody. So now you each have the child 50% of the
Yes.
time. Is that what you wanted?
No, that's not what I wanted.
Well, that's why Mr. Ruiz says that you're pursuing these matters after
No.
2 years.
The reason why I'm pursuing this case is because the judge told me that we weren't married, so I wasn't able to get none of my belongings back.
I'm not interested in your belongings. Do you understand? And don't tell me that you couldn't have gotten any of your belongings out. You could have gotten your belongings out with a police officer. If the shoes didn't fit him, the police would have given you your shoes back. Do you understand?
Your Honor.
And if you had personal papers, the police would have given you your personal papers back if you went back into the house. You chose not to do that 2 years ago.
No, because I didn't want my daughter seeing the cops doing nothing to him. There's plenty of times that the cops that came to the house when
Madam,
he thrown me around.
Listen to me very carefully. I don't believe what you're saying to me, because from December 2001, when you say you left, up until 2002 in November, according to both of you, you did sort of see each other off and on.
And that's why I left him for
So
sure.
that you could have gotten your shoes and your personal papers. You had plenty of time to do that. Stop being a victim. Okay? Be a grown-up. You have a 6-year-old child.
Your Honor, she said that she had emotional distress and pain and suffering since 2002. Every time we go to court, she doesn't have her story straight.
I have her story straight. Tell me about the ring that you gave her, Mr. Ruiz.
Yes.
Tell me when you gave it to her. Under what
I
circumstances?
gave it to her on Christmas Eve, I believe,
What year?
2001.
You said you broke up Christmas 2001.
Yeah, we did.
So how come you
This
gave her the
was-
ring Christmas Eve?
Well, I don't know. I was dumb. I was, straight up.
Well, what did you say to her when you gave her the ring Christmas Eve 2001?
I asked her to marry me.
And what did she say to you?
She said yes. She goes, right now I need some space because her mom was sick, this and that. Okay, whatever. She said, but she does want to marry me. That's what she told me.
What did you use this credit card for?
Every time we needed money together, we would just pull it out of the ATM, just money straight out.
So you used it for joint bills?
Yes.
Good. I want you to tell me about the agreement that he made, if any, to pay you back for this. Did he say he was going to pay you back, and when?
Yes, he told me all the time.
Tell me when he agreed to pay you back.
Right when before we'd go get the money out, he would tell me that he was going to pay it off because I was not allowed to work. I was not allowed to get a job, so there was no way for me to pay it.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you that if you're living together and you have a child, that each time you would go and get money out of an ATM, he would say to you, I am going to pay back this amount because you're not working, because I don't want you to work, and I'm working, so each time we go, I'm going to pay you back.
Yes, he did say this.
I don't believe you, Miss Espinosa.
I'm telling the truth. I know I was right there, and that's what he was.
I don't believe you. In any event, I suggest you go find the engagement ring and sell it. Maybe that'll help pay off the bill. Listen to me, madam. You have to put a period. Just because one lawsuit didn't turn out the way you wanted it to 2 years later. I don't buy it, Miss Espinosa. I'm sorry. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's just very controlling. He's very manipulating.
I'm happy.
For 6 years, I was 16. I didn't know what I was doing.
All I gotta do is tell the truth, and this is what happens.
He started throwing me around. He slammed my leg in the door.
You know, I pushed her around before, but I never hit her or nothing like that.
Socked me. I hope he gets what he deserves.
I just hope she leaves me alone and go on with her way, and that's it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pappas versus Aldern. Step forward, please.
Mortgage broker Corliss Pappas is suing her daughter's former friend, 19-year-old student Kelly Aldern, for the cost of a new car engine. Corliss says Kelly drove the car with the oil light on.
Miss Pappas, you are the owner of an automobile. I assume this is your daughter.
Correct.
Your daughter goes to college? Mm-hmm. And she, without asking your permission, loaned your car to the defendant and this young lady for the purposes of making a trip. A long trip, 700 miles? Mm-hmm. The car broke down on the way home from the trip, and it is your claim that the defendant should pay for half of the cost for repairing the car. The defendant says that the car broke down and it wasn't her fault.
Correct.
Okay. You don't know what happened with the car because you weren't there. Is that right?
That is true.
And your daughter doesn't know what happened with the car because your daughter wasn't there.
That would be true.
This young lady, who was also in the car, what is your name?
Colleen.
Colleen sent you a check. Step up, Colleen. Why did you send her $800, Colleen?
I wanted to avoid conflict.
Why don't you tell me where you were going when you borrowed the car?
We were going to Iowa.
From where?
From Greeley, Colorado.
How many miles is that trip?
700.
Each way?
Yes.
And the car made it there without a problem?
Yes.
What happened on the way back?
The engine seized.
Did anything happen before the engine seized? Look at me.
The oil light came on possibly a little bit before, but I didn't see it. I wasn't driving.
Colleen, let's not play games with each other so that way you won't be embarrassed. When did you find out that the oil light went on?
Right before the engine broke down, the car broke down.
And who told you the oil light went on?
Kelly was in the middle of telling me.
What did she say to you?
Basically, the oil light's on, and the car broke down right then.
How long had the oil light been on, Kelly?
It had been on for about a second or two, right before the engine seized.
Had you ever had any problems with leaking oil in the car before?
No, ma'am.
Step up. Tell me your name.
Annie Pappas.
Annie, when you had the car, did you have to put oil in the car frequently?
I put oil in, we serviced it in June, right? Correct. And we put oil in it how long before? I'm sorry, I didn't know exactly. My dad always put oil in the car for us, so.
How old a car is this?
It's 1990.
So the car's 13 years old?
Yeah, so you do put oil in it.
And you have this car at college?
Yes, my mom gave it to me.
So, Ms. Pappas, what makes you think Ms. Aldern is responsible for half of the damage to the car?
Two reasons. First of all, through the talk from these girls at the dorm, the comment was produced saying that they drove for 30 minutes with the oil light on. The second reason is that it's not a seized engine. It was an engine that actually had a rod go clear through the engine. The crankshaft also broke. The entire motor had to be replaced.
Well, what makes you think that that's Ms. Aldern's fault?
I think if an oil light goes on and you drive or don't stop immediately, one would assume that you're not taking care of the car.
What if they were in the middle of a road where they didn't have a gas station?
Then pull over to the side and call for help. They ruined the engine.
How do I know whether or not the same thing might not have happened to your daughter? She doesn't know one thing from another about changing oil. She says, my dad takes care of that.
She does recognize if a light comes on, you stop.
According to Kelly, the light went on a few seconds before the engine seized.
I don't believe that. I don't.
Well, how do I know that? You weren't there.
That's true.
If your theory of the case is, Ms. Pappas, that the person driving the car, that would be Kelly, was negligent because she did not stop immediately and put oil in the car or call for help, then what is your theory with regard to Colleen being responsible? And you insisted that she give you half.
That's a valid point. However, no matter, even if you were in a brand new car and you drove 700 miles, when you stopped to purchase gasoline, you could check on the oil. I just thought people did that.
I don't check my oil every time I go into a gas station. What I'm asking you, Ms. Pappas, is why would you think Colleen would be responsible for half of your cost? She wasn't driving. She's a passenger.
I thought that she would be responsible because when she took the car from Ann, both girls said that if they broke it, they would buy the car. If any damage was created to the car under any circumstances,
oh, well, that's a different story. Did you say that?
We did make an agreement when we took the car. Annie said, if you break it, you buy it, and we did agree to that. But we...
Just a second. That's a horse of a different color. Now, Kelly, but for the fact that you agreed to take care of any damage to the car while it was in your possession, you would not be responsible. But if you said to Miss Pappas, anything that happens to the car, if we break it, we buy it, that means that you're going to take care of it.
Well, we didn't say exactly if anything happens to the car. The understanding was more...
Don't tell me what the understanding was. The words. Just the words.
Okay, the words, Annie said, you break it, you buy it, and we said, okay.
You owe her $800, my dear. You owe her $800. You wouldn't ordinarily. But if she said to you, you break it, you buy it, and you said, okay, you are guaranteeing the return of that car in the same condition that you took it in. Therefore, you owe her $800. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I still feel that we didn't actually break the car. It was really old, and no one could have known what was going to happen to it.
It's an interesting...
Carpenter Tawny Sowers is suing her former roommate, construction worker Gary Manhart Jr., for the return of her property. Gary says she's had ample time to get her things.
Quiet in the courtroom, please. This is case number 170 on the calendar in the matter of Sowers versus Manhart. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks have seats.
Miss Sowers, for how long have you known the defendant?
Approximately 5 years.
In what way do you know him?
I had an affair with him at one time 5 years ago.
And recently, according to what I read, you moved in with him.
At that time, I had left my husband. I lived in my truck for 1 week. I had nowhere else to go, and I asked him if I could rent a room. He agreed to that with a verbal rental agreement, that I pay the electric bill, and that was it. Everything else would be taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
that's not right.
I'll get to you in a minute. When did you move in?
I moved in approximately August 12, 2002.
And how long did you stay?
I stayed until October 19th. At that time, I told him I was moving out, that the atmosphere at his house, I had to find myself. I was very confused at that time. Leaving my husband, being there, the alcohol that was involved was a little too much.
Whose, his or yours?
It was both at the time, and I wanted to get away from that.
Okay. According to your complaint, you moved out and he did not let you get your stuff.
No.
The defendant says that he got tired of storing your property, kept it for a while. Put your hands down, sir. Got tired of storing it and ultimately got rid of it. How large an apartment or a house do you have?
I have a 3-bedroom house.
Was she renting a room?
There was no verbal agreement as far as one electric bill versus this, that, and the other. It was...
Well, what was the agreement? Was there any...
The agreement was just she was going to help pay this, that, and the other. There was really nothing discussed on it.
So there was nothing...
She didn't even have a job when she first moved in.
So there was no formal agreement with regard to rent?
No.
Did she ever come back after the 19th or the 20th to get back some of her clothing?
Yes, roughly about 3 months later, a little after 3 months.
But not before that?
No, I begged, pleaded, groveled, did everything that I offered to get a trailer to get your stuff out of there. I
never did.
Just a second,
You
don't
turned down
speak to
Harry
each other.
numerous times.
Look, listen to me. Mr. Manhart, look at me. If you want to talk to her, you do that outside. You want to be in court, you talk to me. She left on October 19th.
Yes.
Where did you go?
I rented.
Look at me.
I rented a room in a beach condo.
With somebody else or alone?
With someone else.
With whom?
It was with Henry.
And how long did you live with Henry?
Still am today, still sharing rent.
When you left on October 19th, did you take your clothes?
I took one bag, and I told him that I was making arrangements to get my stuff, to let me know what was, a good time for him to move the stuff. And he said that he was busy this weekend, and next weekend he wasn't going to be in town, and, it was on and on.
Well, we're talking about October. What about November? How many times did you contact him in November?
November, approximately 3 times.
And you told
phone
him,
calls and stopping by.
And you told him you wanted to get your things?
Yes.
And he said you can't get your things?
He never had a convenient time.
Well, when you stopped by, was he at home?
Yes, he was.
And he said you can't come in and get your things?
He would step outside the front door and say, "Can I help you?" and go like this and stand there and smile at me.
Now, in November, when you couldn't get all of your property, when for the first time did you go to small claims court to sue him for your property in November?
I went to small claims court in May.
I want you to answer my question.
Okay.
When in November did you go to small claims court?
I didn't. At that time, I did not have money.
When in December did you go to small claims court?
I didn't. It's more than a small filing fee.
February, March, April, October, November, December, January, February, March, April.
During that time, Your Honor, I had my mother pass away at the end of October. That was an airline ticket I had to buy at the last minute. It was a trip. It was unexpected. I talked to him from Ohio. He gave me his condolences. And then he said that I owed him storage money.
That's not true.
Doesn't make any difference to me. What I want to know is, what took you from October of 2002 till May of 2003 to decide you needed this property? Property that you evidently got along without.
No, it
October,
closed
November,
my
December,
business.
January, February, March, April, May, for 8 months.
I did have a business, Your Honor.
Shh. What do you mean you had a business?
He has possession of an embroidery machine that cost me $15,000.
Then, madam, what I would have done is lickety-split in November. If he had a piece of property that you had that was worth $15,000, I would absolutely have forfeited a lot of other stuff and even asked old Henry, with whom you are now living, do me a favor, I need $30 to go and file a small claims court case.
I finally got enough money together.
How much did it cost you?
It cost me $198.50. And during that time, I've been paying on a machine that I didn't have possession of.
You know, I'm unmoved. You do have a sewing machine that belongs to that you say...
Yes, it is damaged.
And how did it get damaged?
My ceiling caved in. I have an addition that's off the back of my house. The roof started leaking. I have a 4x8 sheet of drywall. It fell. Matter of fact, it tore up my bed.
But you have it?
Yes.
Okay, and you have no problem returning
I have no problem whatsoever.
Okay. Do you have any other of her property?
No, ma'am.
What did you do with all the rest of her property?
I put it to the curb. After 3 months, I got tired of it.
What?
I got tired of tripping around it going into my bedroom. I got tired of tripping on it going through the kitchen. I got tired of just even looking at it.
Now,
and
Mr. Manhart, you say that you asked her to come and get her stuff. When
Yes,
did you
numerous
ask her to
times.
come and get her stuff?
Numerous times. I'd ask, will you come and get it on Friday? No. Friday go to Sunday. Sunday go to Wednesday. And
Look at me.
We did this for ages. I even contacted
Who is this
her husband.
person?
That's my father.
Step up. Were you ever involved, Mr. Manhart, in any...
Yes, ma'am. I was over at his house a couple of times when he talked with her, and I offered to unload it right there and take it to wherever she wanted. She didn't have time to do it. This happened twice.
Your Honor, I even contacted her husband and begged and pleaded, and I told him I'd take everything and put it right back to the same driveway it came from. That man said, I do not want to have anything to do with her. He already filed a restraining order on her and all like that. He wouldn't even accept the property back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's too lazy to get up off the couch with his beer to carry anything out.
You were
I'm
always
sorry.
drunk on vodka.
I haven't drank in 7 months. I'm sorry.
And later today,
He was like really drunk and really upset, so me and Andrew...
People often talk about luck like it's some kind of magical force that determines who wins and who loses in life. They see someone succeed and say he got lucky. But that kind of thinking is lazy. It's an excuse. It's what people say when they don't want to face the truth, that success doesn't come to you by chance. It comes when you fight for it, when you put in the hours that no one else sees. when you push through pain, rejection, and defeat over and over again. Success is not something you stumble upon. It's not a lottery ticket. It's a war. And if you're not prepared to go to war for your dream, then you don't deserve it. Because every step forward, every inch of progress is a battle. You have to be ready to bleed for it. You have to be ready to stand alone with no one clapping for you, no one believing in you, sometimes not even your own family or closest friends, and you still move forward. That's how you earn success. When I first set out on my journey, I didn't have guarantees. I didn't have a blueprint. All I had was belief, a deep, burning belief that I was meant to do something greater, something beyond just surviving or fitting into the system. And belief alone isn't enough. Belief must be matched with action, day in, day out, whether you feel like it or not, whether it's raining, whether you're tired, whether the world feels like it's collapsing, you show up. Because showing up when it's hard is what separates the ones who win from the ones who wish they had. There were times I failed spectacularly, times when I thought maybe I had taken the wrong path, times when the pressure was so intense I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, but still had to get up and lead. There were moments of silence, of complete isolation, when no one saw the storm I was fighting inside. But I never allowed myself to surrender to doubt. You see, the real war isn't out there. It's inside your own mind. That voice telling you to quit, to settle, to stay safe, that's the enemy. And if you don't defeat that voice, you'll never defeat anything outside of you. I wasn't born a warrior. I became one through struggle, through rejection, through years of people laughing, mocking, underestimating. And every time someone told me I couldn't do it, I dug in deeper. That's the fire you need. Not just ambition, not just dreams. You need the kind of fire that keeps burning even when there's nothing left around you but ashes. That's what makes you unstoppable. People think success is glamorous. What they don't see are the long nights, the broken bones, sometimes literally, the personal sacrifices, the relationships lost, the constant fear of failure, and the crushing weight of responsibility. They don't see you waking up at 4 a.m. to keep going while everyone else is still asleep. They don't see you training your mind to shut out the noise, the critics, the doubts. That's the price. And that price is what makes it worth it. Because once you've been through the fire, you don't just win, you own your success. It becomes part of you, it becomes something no one can take away. So don't wait for luck. Don't hope for a miracle. You are the miracle. You are the one who decides how far you'll go, how much you'll fight, how long you'll last. You got to choose every single day to show up for your dream like it's a battlefield, because that's exactly what it is. And only warriors win wars. Failure is not the end, it's the beginning of something deeper. If you let it be, most people run from failure. They treat it like a disease, like something to avoid at all costs. But I learned early on, if you want to succeed in anything meaningful, failure isn't just part of the process. It is the process. When you fall flat, when you lose, when you give everything and still come up short, that's when you discover who you really are. That's when the real fight begins. And in that moment, you have two choices. You can let failure break you, or you can use it to sharpen yourself, to build your strength from the pain, because every failure, every defeat is information. It's showing you what needs to be fixed, what needs to be improved, and where your next step should be. You just have to be willing to listen. There were times I was knocked down so hard that even standing back up felt impossible. But that's when I understood that resilience isn't about pretending you're not hurt. It's about choosing to rise even when it hurts. Every time you get back up, you send a message, not just to the world, but to yourself. I will not be broken. And that mindset changes everything. Because the ones who make it, the ones who leave their mark, they're not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail 100 times and keep showing up for the 101st. You can't become strong without struggle. You can't build courage without fear. And you can't find your purpose until you've been tested by failure. So the next time life hits you hard, don't curse it, don't run from it, look it in the eye and say, I needed this. Because that's the moment you stop being afraid of losing and start learning how to win. Discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you train. Day by day, moment by moment. People look at success and they see talent or charisma or connections. But none of that means anything without discipline. Talent without discipline is wasted potential. Passion without discipline burns out. Discipline is the engine that keeps you moving when motivation disappears, and it will disappear. There were days I didn't feel like doing the work. Days when everything in me said, take it easy, rest, you've done enough. And that's when the voice of discipline had to be louder. You see, it's easy to be committed when things are going well, when the energy is high, when people are cheering for you. But what about when no one's watching? What about when you're exhausted, when the results aren't coming, when you're standing alone? That's when discipline steps in and reminds you who you are and why you started. Discipline is a promise you make to yourself and then keep no matter what. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, it's often repetitive, uncomfortable, and boring, but it's also what builds champions. It's what separates people who talk about dreams from people who live them. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits, and your habits are shaped by discipline. In my own journey, every meaningful achievement came from years of doing the hard things over and over again. Waking up early when I didn't want to, saying no to distractions that looked tempting in the moment but led nowhere. Training, practicing, preparing again and again, while others were relaxing or giving in to short-term comfort. That's what builds real strength, real confidence. Not the big moments, but the quiet ones, when you choose to stay the course. People think success is about talent or luck, but the truth is, it's about sacrifice. Sacrificing what's easy for what's right. Sacrificing temporary pleasure for long-term vision. And that kind of discipline is painful, yes, but it's also powerful. Because once you master yourself, nothing can master you. You want to win? Then show me your discipline. Because that's where the battle is won long before the world sees the victory. One of the hardest lessons to learn on the path to success is this. If you want to lead, if you want to build something meaningful, if you want to live with purpose, you have to stop trying to please everyone. You have to let go of the need to be liked, to be accepted, to fit in. Because the truth is, the moment you decide to follow a path that challenges the status quo, the crowd will turn on you. People will question your intentions, mock your dreams, doubt your every move. And if you're not ready for that, then you're not ready to lead. You can't chase purpose and popularity at the same time. You have to choose. If your goal is to be loved by everyone, then don't expect to stand for anything real. Because when you stand for something, really stand for it, you will offend people. You will make them uncomfortable. You will be misunderstood. And you must be okay with that. There were moments when I had to stand alone, completely alone, because I refused to compromise on what I believed in. The criticism was constant. People said I was delusional, arrogant, out of touch. But if I had followed the crowd, I would have ended up exactly where they were, nowhere. I would have been another name, forgotten in a sea of comfort and compromise. That's the cost of living with purpose. It demands isolation, it demands strength of character, it demands that you hold your ground even when every voice around you tells you to sit down. You see, the world doesn't need more people trying to be liked. It needs people who are willing to stand up for what's right, no matter how unpopular that may be. And that strength doesn't come from ego. It comes from clarity, from knowing why you're doing what you're doing, from having a mission so strong that no insult, no rejection, no defeat can shake it. That's where real power comes from. Not from applause, but from conviction. If your dream is big, expect to be alone for a while. Expect resistance. Expect to be mocked, dismissed, even hated. But never let that change your direction. Because the ones who change the world are never the ones who played it safe. They're the ones who walked alone, were laughed at, and still kept moving forward. So don't be afraid of being the outsider. Don't water down your vision to make it easier for others to digest. You weren't made to fit in, you were made to lead. But there are moments in life when nothing seems to make sense, when every door shuts, when every plan fails, when the people you trusted walk away, and you're left standing in the middle of chaos, wondering why you're even trying. It's in those moments, those dark, silent, lonely moments, that your strength is truly tested. And if all you're depending on is your own power, your own logic, or the approval of others, you'll break. You won't just fall, you'll stay down. What carried me through the worst storms of my life wasn't strategy or experience or support from others. It was faith. Real, unwavering faith. The kind that tells you, even if I can't see the path right now, I know it's there. Even if I don't understand the struggle, I trust that it has meaning. When everything around me was shaking, that faith became my anchor. Because you can have ambition, you can have discipline, you can have resilience, but without something deeper holding you steady, you'll eventually crack under the weight of it all. Faith gives you perspective. It reminds you that the pain you're feeling isn't permanent. It gives purpose to the suffering. It helps you rise when you have no strength left. And it keeps you grounded when everything seems out of control. With faith, failure doesn't destroy you. It refines you. Delay doesn't discourage you. It prepares you. Criticism doesn't silence you. It humbles you. Because when you believe that there's a higher plan at work, you stop being afraid of the process. You stop trying to rush it or control it. You show up, you give everything, and then you trust. That trust doesn't mean you stop fighting. It means you fight with peace in your heart, knowing that every battle is shaping you for something bigger than you can see right now. It means you no longer measure your success by how easy things are, but by how deeply you're willing to keep going, even when they're hard. Faith isn't weakness, it's power. The kind of power that turns fear into fuel and pain into purpose. And once you have that kind of faith inside you, there is nothing this world can throw at you that you can't overcome. Success doesn't respond to wishes. It doesn't care about how badly you want something or how many times you daydream about achieving it. It only responds to those who are willing to go to war for it. And I say war because that's exactly what the path to success is. A series of battles. It's not a smooth journey. It's a fight every step of the way. You don't win by playing it safe. You don't win by waiting for the perfect moment or by hoping someone else clears the path for you. If you want to rise, you have to fight for it. Ruthlessly, consistently, and with everything you have. No one hands you success. You take it. You earn it. With sweat, with sacrifice, and with an iron will that refuses to back down. There's a cost to that kind of fight. You'll be misunderstood, you'll be betrayed, you'll be exhausted, broken, and at times completely alone. There were nights I lay awake, wondering if it was all worth it. Nights when I questioned every decision, every sacrifice. But that's the nature of war. It breaks the weak and reveals the strong. And the only way to become the kind of person who can carry the weight of real success is by surviving those trials. The world doesn't reward comfort. It rewards courage. The courage to keep going when there's no applause, no support, and no visible progress. The courage to take risks that might cost you everything. The courage to stand firm in the face of relentless pressure and still say, I will not give up. Too many people quit before the victory because they expect the journey to feel good. But if success were easy, everyone would have it. What separates winners from the rest isn't just talent or intelligence. It's the decision to fight one more day, take one more hit, climb one more step, even when nothing around you says it's worth it. You have to become a warrior, not just in what you do, but in how you think. A warrior doesn't need comfort. A warrior needs purpose. A warrior doesn't need praise. A warrior needs vision. When you carry that kind of mindset, the world can't stop you because you're no longer hoping for success. You're marching toward it like it's yours to claim. So prepare yourself, because if you truly want to rise, you're not entering a game, you're entering a war. So when you walk away from this moment, remember this: success isn't luck, and it's never handed to you. It's earned through struggle, through failure, through sacrifice, and through a level of discipline and belief most people will never understand. You will be tested, you will be doubted, you will be pushed to your breaking point. But if you have the fire to fight, the faith to endure, and the strength to keep rising, no matter how many times you fall, then nothing can stop you. The war is real, but so is the victory if you're willing to go through the fire to claim it.